Hey guys, it's Dreamer here, and today we are back with some more Buried. We're still in the middle of chapter 4. Where we last left off, we recently got into the bunker. We found 2 more survivors, and we were talking about. We discovered that there is a button that could basically destroy the entire laboratory area of tunnels that we're in and stop whatever the hell creatures are here. However, the gentleman that we recently found, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, I apologize for that, he refuses to do so because all of his work and his life will have been for nothing, and he believes that his research is more important than saving the rest of the world. Now, our character and the 2 females that we were with, I can't remember anybody's names right now, I'm sorry. Bear with me, it's been a few days since I played. We want to hit the button because we don't think that the research is more important than all of humanity, which is the same thing to think. However, fairly certain this guy's going to try and kill us if we try to hit the button. So I think the current discussion right now is, the current discussion right now is that we need to figure out a way to hit the button without him finding out. Or get to the button at the very least without him finding out, hitting it, and then dealing with him afterwards. One of those 2 options. So, let's go ahead and get back to the story, and we will figure out what ends up happening. Also, ignore the blanket. I'm cold, and I don't feel like being cold while I record. Sorry. It's not like it's that much of a distraction. You can hardly see me in this little tiny box anyway. Anyway, so I read all of that last time. If you really want to know what it was, watch the episode of last video. That sentence made sense. Go watch last video. Go watch the last video if you want to know what it said, or read it for yourself. Since I'm sitting here rambling with it on screen. Was that mean? I'm sorry if that was mean. I didn't mean for that to be mean. Anyway, let's get on with the story. I'll read the last sentence again. Strickland finally whispers in response, even if we decide that we want to hit that switch, Barkdale won't allow us. So do you say to hell with him, or you can figure something out, right? I feel like to hell with him means that we're just gonna barge over there and do it, which I don't think is the smart decision. So let's go with you can figure something out, right? Maybe you guys could make a break for it, Strickland whispers. Where is the switch located? Amy asks. There's an elevator out in the hangar. Strickland says, take it to the basement. The switch is at the end of a long tunnel. But Strickland never finishes. 2 things happen at once as she speaks, her mouth stopping mid-sentence. First, a loud booming noise rings out, and then the top of her head seems to explode. Amy screams in surprise, and I jump back in shock as Strickland's body collapses beside me. Behind her fallen body, Barksdale is holding an experimental rifle, and now he's pointing it at us. Well, apparently, that was the wrong answer. Well, crap. I hope we don't die. This is not going to end well. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What the hell's gonna happen? It's probably gonna make us go out with the creatures again. I wonder if Barksdale is even crazier than Marcus. He'd just shoot a woman that worked for him to keep her quiet. Surely he won't have an issue with killing me. Now, Barksdale yells. No more whispering, no secrets. You 2 will stay here. And get away from that door. If anyone whispers one more thing, I'll blow your heads off. My mind is racing to figure out a way to get through the secured door and into the hangar. Beyond that, of course, there was the failsafe switch. Insult Barksdale or make a distraction. Oh god, either way, this is not going to end well. I guess we'll go for the distraction? I don't know. I try my best to be a good actor as I wobble to my feet a bit. I stop, start forward again, and then wobble some more. Amy is apparently catching on because she's at my side in a second. She looks over to Barksdale and says, "He's lost a lot of blood. Let me check his wounds really quick." After he dared talk to me like that, he's been through a lot, she argues. He's clearly delusional. You can check him back here, Barksdale says. You have 30 seconds to get away from that door, or I will. I stretch out my acting skills and actually stumble to my knee. I start a show of trying to get to my feet and stand still for a moment. I'm okay, I say. I'm okay. I think as quickly as I can, I raise my gun and fire. I don't even take aim. I just fire in Barksdale's general direction. Barksdale takes off running as my shoot misses wide. He runs for cover to the back of the room. That's all we need. Amy also fires a shot to keep him under cover. As we head for the door, Amy pushes a button and the door swings open. Barksdale will be on us in a second, so we dash out into the hangar, ready to defend ourselves. Amy and I run as fast as we can through the rows of barrels. Barksdale comes charging out of the chamber almost immediately. Okay, I was wrong. As he stomps onto the hangar floor, he starts shooting. Each shot sends a jolt of fear through me as I wait for a bullet to end my life. We need to get to the elevator on the far side of the room, Amy tells me. It leads down below to the switch. Let's sprint for the elevator. Let's fend off Barksdale first. I say sprint to the elevator. Save our bullets. Okay, she says, go. I take a few shots at Barksdale's direction, succeeding in getting him to take cover and pause his stream of fire. We both run for it, knowing we only have seconds. Somehow I make it through the rows of barrels and get to the elevator's entrance. I turn back to allow Amy to enter first, but she isn't there. I look back to the barrels and see that she has fallen about halfway down the row. She doesn't appear to be hurt, but she is paralyzed with fear, sitting motionlessly as Barksdale peppers the area with gunfire. Run back and give her cover. I start to step out into the open and head back for Amy, but Barksdale's gunfire pins me back into the elevator entrance with a loud bang. Apparently he's reloaded that weapon of his. As the sparks fly inches from my face, I realize that I have to help her from here, and then remember the contents of the barrels. One color is highly flammable fuel. The other contains liquid nitrogen. I'm no scientist, but I'm pretty sure liquid nitrogen is mostly harmless unless you have direct contact. If one of those barrels gets shot and liquid nitrogen spills out, I'm fairly positive it will simply evaporate. That could create a cover. Oh God, I don't remember which barrels to shoot. That could create a cover of sorts for Amy, like a smoke cloud. Ah, hell. But which of the barrels holds liquid nitrogen? Strickland told us, but I can't remember. I have to remember quickly, or Barksdale is going to get careless with shooting, and we could all die. Crap. Shoot the gray barrels or shoot the yellow barrels? I don't remember which barrel is which. Do you guys remember which barrel is which? Because I sure as hell don't. Shit. God damn. Okay. I'm gonna logic and reason this out. And I'm probably gonna end up being wrong. But my thoughts are, if you're gonna have two barrels with two different items in them, if it were me, I would put the highly flammable fuel in the bright yellow barrel that's noticeable and less likely to be disturbed. Whereas the mostly harmless liquid nitrogen I would see more suitable for the gray barrel, because unless, like he says, direct contact, it shouldn't do much, if any, damage to you. So therefore, while still dangerous to have damage done to it, not nearly as dangerous as the highly flammable fuel. That's my logic and my reasoning. However, I could very easily be wrong, remembering incorrectly, and get us killed. Or get Amy killed. I really hope I don't get her killed. We're gonna shoot the gray barrel and hope for the best. Fuck. You decide to shoot the gray barrel. Great. Pretty sure gray barrels have liquid nitrogen in them. Regardless, I don't have time to second guess myself. I take aim and pull the trigger, hitting a gray barrel 20 feet or so away from Amy. There's nothing at first. Just as I wonder if I hit an empty barrel, there's a deafening explosion of fire. Well, shit. It knocks me to my ass, and I can hear Amy screaming. As flame and debris rain over me, my heart sinks. It wasn't the gray barrels. I just shot a barrel full of fuel. I stand up, feeling that the hairs on my arms have been singed slightly from the fire. I can see Amy out there. Her leg is on fire, and she's doing everything she can to roll it out. But everywhere she rolls, there's more fire. Just as I'm about to run to help her, I hear a gunshot. I freeze for a moment, assuming the shot is meant for me. But as I watch, a large red hole blooms in Amy's back. And as she topples over, I glance up to see Barksdale with his gun, proud of his kill. I got Amy killed. Fuck. Sorrow and fury boil up within me. But I have to keep it under control. I have to get to that switch. With Amy gone, there's nothing else for me to do here. I turn away from the hangar and head to the elevator. My nerves are drenched in fear and adrenaline. When I reach out to press the call button in the elevator, it feels like I'm watching someone else do it. I step inside and the doors close. The monitor on the elevator sounds like dying dogs. As the elevator slides down, the light from the flames gives way to complete blackness. And now I am on my own. Crap. Okay, can we at least admit that my logic didn't, sound like complete ridiculousness? Like, it made sense, right? Like, oh, fuck. This is what I get for stopping halfway through a chapter and waiting several days before recording more. God damn it. I'm mad. I'm mad at myself. I am so freaking mad at myself. What the hell? Fuck. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I freaking got Amy killed. I lose track of how long the elevator descends. It's hard to tell due to the lack of lighting, but it might be another 500 feet underground. The elevator comes to a stop with a shuddering clang, and I waste no time exiting. A tunnel stretches out with sparse white bulbs lighting the way. Most of the wall is made of raw earth and rocks, but there are boards and concrete slathered in areas used to reinforce the tunnel. I see a warning sign posted on the wall. I want to read it, but there's not much time. Read the notice. It might tell us which direction we need to go. Warning, authorized personnel beyond this point. Trespassers will be prosecuted to the full extent of law. Absolutely no exceptions. Well, I'm glad I got that out of the way. Now that everyone is dead. Okay, so it was a waste of time. Suddenly, I feel the effects of the painkillers again. My head feeling like a balloon, and my balance is off kilter. I look up, and when I see that the tunnel's ceiling is less than 6 inches over my head, claustrophobia freezes me for a moment. Still, it's much better than facing the monsters above me. I wonder then, walking through the darkness, where they came from. Is the portal still open? The bulbs do little to thwart the darkness. I hold the gun in one hand and reach out to touch the wall with the other. Feeling the wall under my palm anchors me to reality. No, sanity. To sanctity. I am not in some boundless abyss, but still in the real world. For a little while longer, at least. I recognize that I am marching to my end, as much as I wish I weren't. It's not surprising. From the moment I saw what those creatures could do to time and space, at least a part of me knew that death was inevitable. Before I have time to wonder whether my family will really miss me, I see a light ahead. It's nothing more than a spark of blue light, but in the darkness of the tunnel, it's like a lighthouse on a stormy sea. I slog forward, my eyes straining to focus on that little light ahead. From somewhere ahead, I start to hear something that sounds like water. It is trickling lightly like a leaking faucet. And behind that, there's something that sounds like wind, a light breeze through an open field, and a voice. Somewhere else, the sounds would have been pleasant, but in the blackness of the tunnel, they're menacing. Say hello or stay quiet. I think we're gonna go stay quiet, just because that's basically what I've been doing throughout the entirety of this story. Is I prefer to stay quiet and get a glimpse of what I'm approaching before startling whatever said thing is. It's my personal opinion, at least. So yeah, that's what we're gonna pick. I don't make a sound, instead trying to make sense of what's going on around me. I cock my head, trying to concentrate, and then realize that I can see the tunnel walls now. This is odd, as I wasn't able to see them a few seconds ago. This is different from the blue light at the end of the tunnel. It's then that I see the slight shimmering in the air. It looks like a foggy mirror, steamed over after a shower. And it's moving, dancing in the air like some abstract firefly. It's not menacing like the creatures, so that threat is null. It's peaceful, serene. I watch as the shimmer branches out and becomes 2, then 3, then 4. They snake out in different directions, tracing the tunnel walls. Are these shimmers the doors to another dimension that Strickland was Are these shimmers the doors to another dimension that Strickland was talking about? Suddenly I'm surrounded by light, above and below me, and realize there's no avoiding it. The question is, how am I going through? Going head first, going feet first? I think feet first might be a smart option. Unable to resist, I step forward to where the tunnel wall should be. When I do, those shimmering lights branch out even more, before connecting in one perfect circular form. They are harmonizing, so much that I don't realize that the tunnel walls are vanishing. I feel something like wind and a brief electrical pulse pass through me as the lights take me. There is then a very gentle pushing sensation, and I somehow know that I am being expelled. I have passed through something. Maybe the lights, maybe the tunnel walls. I don't know. But the shimmering lights fade a bit, still dancing in the air, but no longer large and branching out. And as my eyes adjust, I see right away that I am no longer standing in that dark tunnel far beneath the hangar. I have no idea where I am. I'm just somewhere else, and I'm terrified. Well, that's not good. Do we get a scene change? We do get a scene change. Oh. That looks like molten lava, which means we should probably not be standing on it. The ground I land on looks like hot coals. That too. There are dips in many cliffs breaking the landscape ahead of me. There's a wash of orange and blue overhead in the sky that makes no sense. It is both beautiful and terrifying at once. If that's what it looks like, then yeah, it's very beautiful. A scattering of stars hang overhead, and they all seem to be breathing, pulsing with a gentle energy as if alive. I can't tell if there are clouds in the sky because everything about it, from the colors to the trembling horizon line, seems to be amorphous. Everything is knitted together, living. Everything is knitted together, living. I stare a moment and can swear I feel the sky breathing. Far off to my right, I see what looks like Far to my right, I see what looks to be a plume of fire. A plume of fire. Small, yet bright, with no source of fuel. It looks as if the ground itself is creating the flame. Several more of these flames dot the landscape further out. The air is thick and muggy. Then I realize something horrible. I don't know if what I'm breathing here resembles air at all. In a place like this, one of impossible beauty, but also very stark horror, my mind doesn't know what to do. A wave of nausea comes over me, and I think I might be sick. I'm not sure if it would be better to fight it or give in. The white light that brought me here is nowhere to be found. Is anyone else here? Is there any way to escape? Let's look around the area. Again, keeping quiet, don't want to be found by the wrong people. I continue to look around at the nightmarish landscape and see a few other unexplainable oddities. There are billowing flames in the distance, not like a volcano or explosion, just some kind of slow heat crawling upward that defies reality. This analogy seems even more fitting when I see the thin vein-like roots of the fire twisting into the ground and then darting back out in all directions. I get the sick feeling again in my gut and realizing my mind just needs something to focus on. It's then that I hear a voice, it is faint, distant. I turn and hear it coming out of one of the massive crevices along the ground. Inside of that crack, about 10 feet down, a very pale man lies on the ledge. He is human, but he looks close to death. He is in the center of a large pool of blood, and his left leg has been twisted and torn in an unnatural way. As I walk to the ledge, he looks up at me, and he looks up and sees me. "Help me, please," the man says. His eyes are wide, although everything about him speaks of weakness. He is close to death or insanity, or both. Who are you? I'm Dr. Kahana. He strains to get out. I work in the facility. Help, please. Please help. I read that backwards. I want to know more, but it seems cruel to steal what looks like his last breath just to answer my questions. I'd love to, I respond, but I don't know where the hell I am or how to get back home. The light, he says. It's a doorway. It might take you back to the facility. Might? Yeah, let's go with might. There's no way to know where the doorway is taking you. You could be stuck in another world or between worlds, but it's the only way out of here. I desperately want to help, but there's no way I can reach him. His ledge is too far away above the pools of fire. I don't think I can get to you, I say. No, that's not what I mean, he replies. His eyes are on the shotgun that I almost forgot I'm still holding. I realize what he wants and shake my head. I can't, I say. I can't do that. Please, he pleads. Those things. They have the others that came here with me. I got dropped along the way. They'll be back. They'll be back and they'll kill me. That, he says again, indicating the gun, will be quicker and less painful. I can't, I repeat. Please. Look at my damn leg. I'm dead anyway. I'm about to refuse him again when I hear an all too familiar static sound out from another crevice behind him. I hear another of those shrill noises and then watch as one of the monsters materializes up out of the neighboring crevice. 2 more come out after it, and then a third, then 5, then 10. Soon I lose count as what was just a few turns into a flood, and I suddenly understand the man's reasoning. A bullet would be a mercy. I check the gun and see that I only have 1 round left. I can use it on this guy, but I may need it for myself later. From beside me, the man pleads again. My God, he says, a wave of Lancy in his voice. Please. Fuck. Show mercy. Potentially save our life. Show mercy. Potentially save our own life. Show mercy. Potentially save our own life. I'm sorry. You did not shoot the man. I'm so sorry, I say. I can't. What I don't tell him is that in a situation where I have to keep this 1 bullet, I can't waste it on him. He whimpers a bit and I look away, unable to see that misery on his face. Behind me, I hear him give a mix between a scream mixed with a high-pitched high-pitched noises of the army of creatures. Their volume rises as he lets out cry after cry. I clench my teeth as the torture continues. Then suddenly his voice is silenced and only the 6th static sound remains. And that's when I see the shimmers waving to my right, in the direction I originally came from. I look back to the monsters to see they have now noticed me. Some of them begin floating up the walls of the crevice. There are less than 10 feet separating us. The shimmers of white light are within arm's reach, its movements reminding me of a fish in an aquarium. I reach out and feel myself accepted by them again. I feel the sensation of wind and wait for the feeling of being pushed out, back to the tunnel of the facility. But it doesn't come this time. This time I feel something else. I feel a tugging sensation that seems to want to drag me in all directions at once. As the world goes dark, I realize that I am somewhere else. And it is not the darkness of the tunnel. It is the darkness of a total void. So, not only did we have to listen to the guys screaming of pain, which I feel really bad. Had we had like 2 bullets or something, I totally would have done it. But with 1 bullet and still a whole nother chapter to go, there's no telling if we'll find more ammo, let alone more guns. And odds are we're gonna end up needing that at some point. And to boot, we're now probably in between worlds instead of in any world, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Fantastic. There is a darkness around me everywhere. Nothingness. I feel nothing under my feet, nothing to my sides. I can't touch or sense anything at all. I don't even know which way is up or down. It's as though I am all that exists, and as I remain there, I just hear silence. Not even the sound of my heartbeat. The blackness is so deep that I feel I can't distinguish between my thoughts and what is real. I hear screaming, but I can't tell if it's someone else's or my mind screaming to fill this void. Let's try to move. I tried to kick and move my arms. It's not working. But it's not clear in what way it's not working. Are my limbs not moving? Or have they have they gone numb? It's impossible to tell. My body has just become absent in this situation. I assume this is the place that Strickland referred to, the place between dimensions. This darkness could consume me if it wanted to. I try to will myself out of it, to have those shimmering lights spit me out, but it isn't happening. At this point, my mind starts to hallucinate, or at least I think it does. Are they visions? My mind playing tricks on me? I can't tell. All I can do is watch. I see the logging site, and Tony's legs still pinned under the dozer. I feel a pang of regret that I had left him in such a state. I see myself talking to Dennis, and him blowing up at me for not telling him that Tony was gone. Then the scene rearranging itself, and I'm standing between Dennis and Marcus's gun. It changes again, and the shape of Marcus lies on the ground, still hell-bent on revenge even after I let him live. In my mind, I'm sobbing as I watch Dennis get torn apart by those monsters all over again, and I just stood by and watched. And I try to let out a scream as I watch myself shoot the wrong barrel, blowing Amy to hell, but there's still no sound. And just when I feel like I can't take any more of this, I see the man in that strange world begging for death. I watch as he's destroyed and torn by those beasts. All of these things are flooding my mind, and it feels like my brain is vomiting. Yet in my mind, yet in the midst of it all, I see what's really important: the switch. In my mind's eye, I see that glowing light in the tunnel, the one far ahead, small and distant. Let's try to focus on it. I think that's the best thing to do. I focus my mind on the tunnel and the image of that flickering light. With a mental effort so strong that it is nearly a physical motion, I make myself envision that little light in the tunnel as if it were right there in front of me. With that, I feel the wind again, a light breeze that seems to come from everywhere. And then with a relief that I can only imagine feels like death, I move forward. So that wasn't the right choice. So we're back in the tunnel now. Damn. This is crazy. This is freaking insane. I'm ejected from the void, and I'm suddenly standing in the tunnel again. I let out a wail of triumph, and that turns into a bout of weeping. The weeping only intensifies when I see that light up ahead, a flickering blue light. Somewhere behind me, I hear a crackling noise. The monsters from the other place, they have come through, but not at the same time. They've gone down the tunnel the other way in search of me. And now, because I'm crying, they knew I was here. I feel like I can listen and get a better read on where they are, or I can just make a break for it. I I feel like we should listen and figure out where the heck they are, because for all we know, they could be, like, there could be an offshoot in this tunnel, and they could be between us and the blue light. Like, I mean, that or waiting could very well get us killed. Although they are literally, like, made of light, so I feel like if they were that close, we'd be able to see them. And making a run for the blue light might attract their attention even more. So let's try listening to hear where they are. I try my best to listen, attempting to figure out how far away they are, but the sound carries strangely down here. Right now, that static sound makes it seem like they're about 30 yards away. Knowing my time is running out, I run as fast as my aching and confused body will allow, headed straight for the blue light. As I run, I see a different light, a white one, flickering in my peripheral vision. It's another of those shimmers that go to other worlds. It seems they are appearing and disappearing with more frequency now. Strickland was right. These things could reach the surface soon, unleashing more monsters. This thought makes me refocus on the blue light, the man-made light, the switch. The blue light gets closer, and as it does, I can make out a square shape around it. This has to be it. The familiar static scream of the monsters is much closer now. I have to be quick. I grip my gun tightly, knowing I only have one bullet remaining. The bullet that the man in the other world had wanted me to use to end his life. I run ahead into the darkness, my eyes locked on the switch that I assume is going to kill not only the creatures, but myself as well. As I approach, I see the lever. It's covered by a glass box that I will need to break. The blue switch is directly beneath this, highlighting a series of tubes and wires that snake into the inner workings of the device. In the middle of the blackness, not like a darkly colored part of the machine, but just a hole in reality. It looks like some sort of illusion. All the while, I can hear the static of the creatures coming up dangerously close now. I have no idea how much time I have. Let's smash the glass and hope for the best. I draw back the stock of the gun and smash through the glass that houses the lever. The glass shattering is like music to my ears. I reach out for the lever, my hand grasping it. Without warning, I feel immense pain course through my body. It feels like fire racing down my back, causing me to fall to one knee in agony. There's only one of them that I can see. It blasts horrible static noise at me as I ready my gun. One bullet left. I'm very glad I didn't put that poor man in that other place out of his misery. I take aim and fire, my accuracy rewarding me with a spew of white gas from the creature's core. It backs away, in defense or annoyance, I'm not sure. I start to turn back to the switch, then I hear a second creature come gliding up behind me. Its tentacles melt into me and I scream. I can't help it. I sound like a wild animal. I can try to keep fending them off, or I can go for broke and just focus on the lever. Creatures be damned. Oh, damn. See, I told you, as cruel as it was to not spare that man's life and kill him, we needed that bullet. We would have been screwed without that bullet. Although I'm almost curious to know if there's a way to go about this to where we get to this point with more than one bullet. I doubt it, but I'm curious. I feel like just springing for the lever would be the best option here. Pain or not, I mean, we're gonna die anyway. I put all of my strength into my legs. The moment the monster in front of me draws back its eel-like arms to grab me, I pivot backwards. My back strikes the machine, sending agony rocketing through my body. I'm so thankful I broke the glass before this moment, before the coming violence. I stretch out and grab the lever, which, with one last desperate scream that shreds my voice, I jam it down. The tunnel is suddenly filled with a flash of intense darkness. It expands from the switch, swallowing the matter around it. At first, I'm sure this is the end for me. I expect the darkness to consume me, followed by death. But then another shimmer of dancing white light appears next to me. There are more of those screams. There are more of those streams of light. There are more of those streams of light. Rips in the space like the ones that previously sent me to other ungodly world and the void. With nothing else to do but die, I try to escape into the shimmer. Then when that stream of light envelops me, the expanding darkness from the switch is gone, and I feel a huge push. Well, that's interesting. What the hell happened? Ooh, that's pretty. What the hell is going on? This is a very long chapter. My body feels stretched, collapsing like I'm falling in a direction my body feels stretched, collapsing like I'm falling in all directions at once. The world goes white, and then there are these pinpoints of stars everywhere. One of them breezing directly by my right, and I see something that looks like a spiral galaxy, distorted in its folds. To my right, I see an endless stretch of stars and gas clouds, forming some galactic architecture. But beyond the immeasurable beauty, I notice something. I'm seeing the same star patterns over and over. They are repeating like reflections. An endless mirror. Are these different versions of the same galaxies? The same realities? To my left, I see a calm blue world that can barely make out trees. Familiar Kentucky trees that I have been around for the last few weeks. To my right, I see a copy, an orange world, and there are trees. To my right, I see a copy, an orange world, and there are trees there as well. But something strange, disturbing. As I zoom by, I'm not sure how much control I have in this unusual place. But if I can direct myself, it's worth trying. I feel like... I don't know. Like, maybe... Okay, so based on the way he describes the two worlds, because he says that the orange one feels disturbing, I feel like that's supposed to put you off from picking it, which kind of makes me want to pick it. Like, if I put some thought into it, the blue world could be, we pulled, like, the world where we managed to pull the lever, or the world where this never happened. And everything could be happy and everybody could be alive. And the orange world could possibly be, we didn't pull the trigger, or something like that. Or the lever, not trigger. I don't know. But I think I'm going to pick the orange world purely based on the fact that he called it disturbing, and I want to know why it's disturbing. You decide to head to the orange world. I try to focus my mind on heading towards the orange world, not knowing what to expect. My breath escapes me for a moment. Everything is dark and peaceful, and nothing hurts. Then again, now that I really think about it, the orange world, the disturbing thing, could be a world where none of this ever happened and everybody who died is alive. And that could be what's making it feel disturbing. I'm doing air quotes over here, like you can actually see my hand. Whatever. Anyway, I guess we'll hit continue and see for ourselves why this world is so disturbing. Oh gosh. Okay. With breath back inside my body, I gasp and open my eyes. I'm back at the logging site. How? I'm not sure. Did the shimmers react with the impulsion of the switch? Some other accident? I have no idea. I sit up right away and become instantly dizzy. I wonder if I am somehow back in time, before we found the facility. But what happens next makes me realize that can't be true. I feel a tremor in the ground, somewhere off in the distance. I hear a metallic groan. The buried facility. It's being ripped apart under the ground by the activation of the switch. I hear trees splitting and popping all around me, and there's the muffled sound of an implosion. A huge group of trees is falling, followed by a massive plume of the dust and debris. There's no way Barksdale and Marcus survived. Good riddance. I look in the direction where I found Dennis sitting before this all started. It's then that I remember that he's gone, along with Amy. I'm still not sure how I got out of the facility alive, but I suppose is the most important thing. Alone but alive. But something feels off in the way that I cannot quite explain. It's then as I look up and notice the sky that it starts to sink in. Oh dear, what's going on? Oh. This is very pretty, but it reminds me of that other world that we went to. It is then as I am able to see the sky unobscured by the trees that had been standing several minutes ago, that it starts to sink in. There's something different about it, something not right. The sky does not belong. That sky does not belong here. It is a sky of oranges and blues. Stars pulse in and out as if alive. The colors of the sky seem to breathe, as if they are trying to inhale the tops of the spruce trees. I see those colors, all knitted together and living. My stomach rolls and a scream rises up in my throat. What the hell have I done? Oh, that's the end? Did we make it to 5 chapters? I thought there were 5 chapters. Did I screw up? Tough it out. You and 36% of players decided to take the painkillers. Who survives? You and 38% of players didn't shoot the right barrel, resulting in Amy's death. Mercy. You and 70% of players did not kill the man who asked for death. Going home. You and 17% of players headed toward the orange world. The end. Okay, yeah, right here it says there's 5 chapters. Did I miss the transition between chapter 4 and chapter 5 and not register that it happened? Hang on. I'm going to go back and check through my recordings and see if I just didn't register the transition between chapters. So either I'm just straight up not seeing it, or because of the decisions we made, we didn't get a chapter 5? I'm not sure. I haven't watched any playthroughs of this yet to know, because I'm clearly playing it myself. But, I don't know. I'm confused. I guess that's it for, Buried. It's kind of crazy how that, ended. I'm not sure how I feel about that ending. I don't know. I'm really confused. But, I guess that's it. So, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments, about the way this ended and everything. I'd really like to hear, your guys' theories, because I'm at a complete and utter loss as to what to think right now. I'm so confused. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm probably going to go watch Markiplier's playthrough from this now, though. Just to see if he chose things differently than me. Maybe he'll get a different ending. I don't know. But, that's beside the point. Anyway. Yeah. Don't forget to like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more videos. And I will see you guys next time.